This video is for Stipple Wild. If you don't have Stipple Wild, you can't do this. So if you want to try it, hit me up on Instagram. All right, I'm going to launch Stipple Wild. In this video, I'm going to show the new dot shapes. Let's just go with default. All right, so now go to the brush and dot menu, and down on the right hand side, there's a drop down for dot shape. So by default, we're at circle. Let's put it at, now we have a lot more options, like way too many options. And most of these options are pretty stupid and pretty redundant. But it's experiment time. I don't know. I was just doing anything. But let's try one. Let's try Cube Opaque 1. One of my faves. And you might try it out and be like, it doesn't really look like cubes. It just kind of looks like fuzzy dots. Well, make your dot size bigger and you'll see. Now you've got cubes. And if they were just black cubes, they would just be called hexagons. So, here we go. We can try all kinds of all kinds of brushes out. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Some of these don't come out that well. Like I'm noticing that on my tablet, this dodeck shape looks kind of fuzzy, looks kind of crappy. I think it's the outline on it. Let's see. We got Skull Photo 2, one of my faves, obviously. Okay, but if we want to get more useful with it, let's load a picture. Let's get Tyler Durden in there. All right. Actually, we're gonna paint him. You're gonna find that these paint tools are much more useful for color map than they are for draw image, and that's not necessarily true, but I'm finding them to be more interesting as paint tools. So let's use Skull 1, and Skull 1 is the classic wingding skull. Now you see what's going on here? It's just like painting him in skulls. Let's make that brush size a little bit bigger. So now as I shrink the skulls, this is very much the same as the original. Jesus, what's going on? Very much the same as the original stipple technique for painting. And if we want to make this more and more interesting, what we can do is change the opacity, get real big dots in there, blur it up a little bit, then make the dots smaller, change the opacity. If we want to get real fun, turn the jitter up, turn it way up, and you'll see that it's just throwing, it's just mixing skulls up. The skulls that would be on his coat are now on his face, and skulls that were on his face are now on the background. So we can create some pretty interesting techniques. And then, of course, because if you just get the dots small enough, we really just end up, let's turn the jitter totally off. We end up just recreating the image. So now you can say, well, oh, this whole thing was made in skulls, and you wouldn't be lying, but basically the smallest skulls are just pixels. So I guess somebody might call you out on that. I don't know. So as I said, tons to choose from, tons to play around with. They don't work with hardness. You'll see that, let's make the dots bigger. You'll see that doesn't matter what the hardness setting is, it's still going to do the same thing. It just doesn't work yet. Maybe it won't work at all. It seems a little more complicated. They do work with the blend modes. They don't work with the pencil tips or the eraser tips. That shouldn't be too difficult to implement. But you can always still use it with the clear draw mode. That's still gonna work. I don't know how well it's gonna work. You'll find out. Um, yeah, there you go. It's really just replacing the original dot with a different shape. That's all it's doing. So it's not doing any magic sampling per shape size or anything like that. So you might find that it's some of the shapes are inaccurate, but I don't think you're going for accuracy when you're trying to redraw redraw a selfie and skulls. Um, that should do it. Have fun. Thanks for using Stipple.